Hello loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. Today we are going to be doing one of the patron voted videos, and they voted on go-to herbs for every area of life for this week's video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to be going over some of my the herbs that I find are my go-tos, that I tend to just be like, okay, this is it, this is my go-to herbs that I be going to for like emergencies, for like whatever is going on. As you know, we go through life and different stuff goes down. So I'm gonna be sharing what my go-to herbs are, and yeah, this is definitely gonna be a really cool video, so I hope that you guys enjoy it. So we're gonna get started with probably the most known herb, the most like obsessed of herb that we use, the most like the plant that we as human beings have gravitated towards for like millenniums, like the one that everybody comes back to because it's such an iconic herb. I can say that is a very much an iconic herb. And that's gonna be roses. Okay, roses. The rose is one of my go-to herbs, as they should be one of everybody's go-to herbs. I personally like to work with roses in different ways. Roses is part of my glamour magic rituals, but also my self-love like, because the rose itself has such a deep connection with Venusian energy, okay? And it's just all about, it covers so many areas of life as well. It covers money, it covers love, whether it be self-love, healing love, healing your heart chakra. Like, you can work with roses and rose for so many different things, and so I feel like this is one of my go-to herbs because it's very flexible. However, I like to kind of back up this specific herb with hibiscus. As you guys can tell, I love hibiscus. It is like my first flower tattoo is the hibiscus, and that's because hibiscus is my favorite herb slash plant. It's just such a beautiful plant. It just blooms so beautifully, but it's such a powerhouse. I didn't want to add it to here because that's my deeper herbs that I could probably make a whole another video of, like herbs that I work for, like a lot of like probably a longer term kind of, or like just to empower other herbs, or like empower and spell work and stuff like that. But roses, I usually work with hibiscus or lavender or chamomile, like depending on what I'm doing. But roses makes a really good foundation for that love energy, for that, like, heart opening energy, for that and it's really important to remember that love and money are in the same vibration, and why roses should be used in your money spells as well. And this is why they're one of my go-to herbs for like any type of emergencies, especially if I'm like, whether it be love or whether it be money, if something's going down, I'm like, I want to add some love to what I'm doing, because I don't want to be like, especially I feel like money is one of those things that people tend to have a lot of, even with relationships themselves. But money is one of those things that now in the day and age we have like a very toxic relationship with, because debts and all of these kind of other things, and all the pressure, especially during the holiday season, of buy this, buy that, XYZ. So I feel like it's important for us to tap into the energy of love when we're thinking about manifesting money and calling in money and just bringing that in, because love at the end of the day is what we're trying to maintain, our balance between the two. Yes, we spend, but we spent on things that we love to use and love to have in our lives, etc., etc. Like, it's just really important to keep that balance between the two. So roses is one of my go-to herbs for, it's very all-purpose for me for a lot of different things. But yeah, that's why I really love using this. It's really good for healing love energy and heart chakra as well. So I work with this a lot. Now, my next one is also going to be I would say a very popular and famous herb, especially for the season. Okay, for the season, this is it. And that's gonna be the mint family. I'm just gonna call it the mint family, because you can use peppermint, mint, spearmint, whatever. The mint family. Which they have the same similar properties anyway, so it's like just just work with it, okay? And I really love working with the mint family because it's very refreshing. It is very light. It relieves a lot of stress, just like chamomile does. Relieves a lot of stress. It relieves a lot of tension. It relieves a lot of pressure, I feel like, when I'm working with it in my spell work, especially if it's something that I'm concerned about, or something that, even though I'm trying to, like, you know, if you're kind of in the mindset of like, you know, I'm trying to manifest this thing, but you're still kind of feeling some of the vibrations of the kind of reason why you're even doing the spell in the first place, any type of anxiety connected to it, anything like that, the mint family tends to relieve that when I'm working with it. So it's one of those herbs that I just find myself always using. It's all year round, but specifically during the winter time as well. I love working with mint throughout the year. There's like a part of me that feels like the reason why I love like mint so much is because like I am part like from Morocco, and they use like mint so much that I feel like deep down in my soul I'm like, is this why I love it so much, and just why I find it such a like just a calming, like homey herb. Like it's just always been one of my herbs. My mom was the one who originally like put me onto mint, and I just loved it ever since. It's one of our favorite herbs. So I really love working with it on a daily. This is why there's a big jar. Okay, I work with it on a daily. It's really good to relieve any tension, also to call in money. Really great for business type of spells. Really great for like refreshing and just, you know, judging up your life a little bit. Just adding a refreshing energy, especially if you've been feeling stagnant or stuck. This is why I also use it in some of my road opening work as well. So it's very multi-purpose as well. You'll find that a lot of these herbs tend to be very multi-purpose. Now, one of my other favorite herbs slash spices, because this is a spice, but it falls into the herb category. This is like my soul connects so much to cinnamon. If I were to pick one thing that I know for sure my soul has worked with throughout many lifetimes, is cinnamon. Okay, cinnamon, you guys don't understand. Like this I've had like literal visions of me working with cinnamon in other lifetimes, making different things with cinnamon in other lifetimes. Like that's how much I love cinnamon. Cinnamon is amazing for so many different things. Great for hex breaking, great for love, great for calling in money, great for like just releasing any negative energy or any like negativity. It's just such a multi-purpose spice slash herb that this is why the jar is so low, by the way, that I work with it a ton. And you could do so much with cinnamon powder, cinnamon sticks. I love the sticks as well. I use it in cooking a lot. Cinnamon is one of those things that I add and infuse into my dishes, because I find that my body takes in the cinnamon's energy very well. Really great for manifesting so many different things, and it's always kind of like, I feel like the spices tend to have a little kick in life. I feel like the second that you start working with spices in your spell work, it just adds a little bit like kick, and it's almost like a little pep in your step. Okay, this is what I find cinnamon does for me personally. But it's just a really amazing tool to use on a daily. I work with cinnamon. I find reasons to add cinnamon, whether it be to the coffee, whether it be to like the tea, whether it be to like if I'm cooking a beef stew, I will find a reason to add cinnamon, because cinnamon is just, it's just that bitch. Okay, that's what cinnamon is. I said what I said. Now the other one that we're going to talk about is ginger. Okay, ginger. And the reason why I love working with ginger specifically, aside from the fact that I do a lot of work with Sekhmet, and Sekhmet loves ginger, this is like her herb. If you're trying to work with Sekhmet, you have to work with ginger to some capacity. You have to incorporate it. She loves working with ginger, and the reason why is because ginger is one of the best healing herbs, period. Period. And ginger is really good for healing, period. So using it in foods, using it in spell work, this is like multi-purpose to use with any chakra, especially if you're trying to heal any and all chakras. Ginger, okay, you want to use ginger for any type of emergencies, and it helps. And you can see how it helps really well, especially if you're like having a sore throat or anything like that. Your body takes on the ginger, and it just starts soothing your throats, healing your throat chakra. It happens and on an energetic level as well, and it's just such a really powerful herb to work with and incorporate to any type of healing spells, love healing spells, money healing spells, family healing spells, root chakra healing spells, because ginger is a root itself, and so it really dives in deep with the healing. And I just find that it's just such a powerhouse herb. It's just amazing. It's just amazing to work with on a daily, and I like to incorporate ginger in my ancestor work all the time. If I'm burning a candle for my ancestors, you best believe a little bit of ginger is going to go on top of that candle, and it's just going to be like, hey, you know, if there's any healing that needs to be had today, is there anything that comes up that triggers any of my ancestors to any capacity, if there's anything that needs to be healed today in my like family line, please take on this energy, just take this love, take this healing. And I put that ginger on top of that candle and I burn it for them, because ginger is constantly working. It just does what it needs to do. It's like that herb that you can count on to fix the thing, okay? Ginger and I don't have eucalyptus on me right now, or else I would show it to you guys, but those two are my go-to healing herbs, because they just do the thing that they need to do. Like, they just do it. They do it for me. Eucalyptus is amazing for healing as well, but I just love working with ginger. As a cardinal sign, I feel like I just like that kick, that little bite that it has. It's just like, you know, I hope you guys get what I mean. But yeah, so ginger is like definitely one of mine. It's one of mine. Now I'm trying to figure out which one to show you guys next. I mean, this is probably 100% a go-to herb, but lavender. Okay, I have dried lavender because I put it, I have them in two places. This one right here, so you can see right there, because I like to sleep with it above my bed. I like the energy of lavender like above my head while I'm sleeping, because it helps relieve any type of, like, I found that ever since I put that baby up there, even though I don't necessarily get nightmares like that, because I just don't really get nightmares like that, but I found that the quality and the clarity of my dreams have been like pretty ridiculous. And I do a lot of dream work on a normal day, and you guys know this, but ever since I put the lavender on top of there, I just find like I wake up with a different clarity as far as my dream downloads, and just having the energy of lavender in my space. I keep this one in my library, in my apothecary space with my library, and this one right above the bed. And just lavender itself, it's such a powerful herb to work with, because it's very, very, very gentle. It's a very gentle herb. It relaxes. Like, the second you smell it, you can almost feel your muscles just like relaxing. If you're having any type of anxiety or mental, like, or even your voice, like if you're speaking ill, or you're like, you know, bringing yourself down to any capacity, or like you're mentally like in a really bad place, literally get a lavender, stick it in your face, and just smell the thing. It instantly starts, it just work. It's like, lavender is kind of like, I feel like it's almost has a little bit of like what Leos kind of do, which is like they come into a room and they just shine. Lavender, when it's like in its place, you just feel that relaxation, you feel that like calibration, that just like that, you know, I'm just peace. That's what I mean when I connect it to it, because I know Leo's a whole fire sign. That's a whole nother sign and whole nother situation. But I always find that lavender works so well for releasing any tension, body tension, mental tension, and especially as a Gemini moon, I get very clouded here and there, and you guys know this. It's just the Gemini ways of life. We just get really clouded. We can get all over the place. We can get really, really anxious about like, oh my God, you know, like I have this to do and that to do and it can be very, very chaotic sometimes. And lavender, just, you breathe it in and you're like, it's like a really nice deep breath, like the deep breaths that they make you do in yoga, and then you're just like, that's what I mean by that. So lavender is really, really amazing just to bring tranquility into your spirits, and it helps to relieve tension within, again, your mind. So your upper chakras is what I recommend working with lavender with specifically, but you can also work with them in your lower chakras, especially if you're feeling tension below. Like if you're trying to heal some of your sacral chakra tensed up trauma down there, you might need something a little gentle, as in like lavender. Or even with your root chakra, if you're like working through some generational things that have been passed down, whether it's a way of thinking or a mindset that, you know, like maybe something got passed down in your family where you all specifically mentally speak this thing or do this thing, and like it needs to be corrected, working with lavender is really, really good for that as well. So I'm going to show you guys the next one. And this is one of my favorite like herbs to work with. This is Calendula, or as some people like to call it, marigold. And this baby right here is fire. It is ruled by the sun, and the element is fire, obviously. And it looks like almost like it almost looks like a baby sunflower, but sunflowers tend to be very exaggerated, like the arch and everything. Like calendulas don't really grow in that form, but they do kind of do the same similar thing that sunflowers do. They do have a very sun focus. They do follow the sun and, you know, grow with the sun, and their energy is at its peak when it's worked with the sun's energy. So it's a very, very powerful one to use. However, with all of its fieriness, okay, it is just really, really amazing for psychic development, okay, and protection. And I find that I work with this a lot when it comes to my solar plexus. So if I'm trying to, you know, give a little a little bit of oomph to the equation, if I need a little bit more, you know, step or like juju into my work, into my day, into my week, or whatever it is that I'm manifesting, if I'm just trying to call in some strength, call in just like for me to be aligned with my purpose, call in for me to be moving consciously with what I need to be doing, not just necessarily like all over the, because again, my Gemini moon, yo, I'm a Capricorn, and I will be like in 5 seconds I would have been in 5 different places, okay? And so it's really important to me to try to especially like get things done when they need to get done, etc., etc. So for me, I really, really love working with this to fire my own energy up. So drinking the tea of this is really, really amazing. You can also mix it with the roses, and I find that this combination helps really, really well when I'm trying to work with my lower chakras, because you have this, which is the solar, very good for the solar plexus and solar plexus healing and just maintaining your direction, and roses, which is just really good for healing any like sacral chakra issue as well, because again, it works really well with that, just all the areas. This is also really good for any type of like court case, legal work, and finding resolutions in that as well. It's just, I find that it just is a very multi-purpose when it comes to that as well. But I really like using this for on Sundays, so working with the sun's energy, on working with the planetary hours as well, and during Leo season in the summertime, this is one of my go-tos. It just gives me a breath of fresh air. And if you're getting really down in the season, or down in certain time periods, you find yourself getting a little bit down, I would add this to your tea or incorporating in your spell work, because it'll give you that little sunshine that you're looking for. I love the summertime, so I 1000% anything past Cancer season, because Cancer season be like a hot mess sometimes. Don't get mad, you know it's true. Now the next one that I'm going to talk about is very well known, because anyway, it's gonna be sage. And sage is a very multi-purpose herb as well, but a lot of people just kind of stick to the cleansingness aspect of sage. You can work with it as a cleansing tool, or you can work with it as a tea, or incorporating it in spell work as well, which I find helps really, really well when I'm trying to cleanse a situation, get rid of an enemy, do some, you know, like goodbye, redirecting energy back to someone, making sure I'm just protected. Sage works really well for those types of emergencies because it brings the energy of like, I'm not trying to carry you. You're not gonna be my baggage. I'm leaving that behind. Like once I do this, the spell, this is where it ends, because why? I just cleared my path moving forward. Aside from me doing the spell and having to say what I need to say energetically speaking, I done cleanse away and moving forward into the next whatever the hell I'm doing. So I find that sage is really multi-purpose for me because I feel like it's a reset button a lot of the time. And if you're feeling like stuck or clouded or like very like frustrated, sage, because it's very much an airy herb and it works to cleanse and purify. You can also use this for every single chakra and to cleanse every single chakra, especially when you're working with it as a tea. My tip for working with sage, because sage to me, it can be very much like a it's a kind of like a base to something, but it needs something else to direct what it's doing, because it can be very all purpose. When you're using sage, it cleanses all things. It gets rid of all things, you know what I mean? But if you want to work with it a little bit more purposefully is the word I'm going to use purposely, then the way that I like to use it is that I like to combine it with other herbs. So for example, if you wanted to do some sacral healing work or heart chakra healing work, or like just even root chakra healing work, you can combine sage, especially if you're trying to do it as a tea or like in love spells and stuff like that. Combine sage with other herbs that are having other intentions, because obviously sage doesn't have every single property of other herbs. There's other herbs like cinnamon and stuff like that that have other uses. And so because sage can be very like in one kind of field, you want to add sage, which can be like this blank page, and you want to color it with different things. You want to add different intentions and say, you know, hey sage, this is exactly what I'm trying to cleanse. Not necessarily using it as a cleanse, that's it, you know, no. Being very much intentful when you are using sage, especially when you're trying to combine it with other things, I feel like works really well, and it's really, really important to use in spell work. So the next ones, this is gonna be the last bits. I literally pulled out so many herbs, but I just want to talk about literally the go-to ones because I feel like these are really important. But when it comes to protection work, and when it comes to any type of like creating a boundary or a barrier, or like or even giving yourself like strength and giving yourself and working again with that solar plexus energy, I like to work with the peppers. Okay, I love to work with the peppers, and this falls under spices, but it's fine. I like to work with the peppers for different things. So we're gonna start off talking about these two, and these two are interchangeable. They're not necessarily like, oh, I'm telling you to choose this one for this and this one for that. I honestly would say that these are interchangeable, except I personally like to use the crushed red pepper more than the cayenne, which some people might say is a crime against humanity, but listen, it is my preference. It is what it is. But I tend to find that crushed red pepper releases its spiciness faster than powdered cayenne for whatever reason in spell work. That's just my observations, my mystical observations. So these are interchangeable. So don't just be like, if you have cayenne over this and you're like, oh, but Abby said no, you can use these similarly. I'm not telling you to go buy another thing, even though both of these I got at the Dollar Tree, so you'll be fine. But I'm not telling you you need both of these. However, I use both of these on a regular, so it is what it is. But you would notice that, well, you can't tell from here, but you would notice that this is lighter than this one. And that is because I work with cayenne a lot. I work with crushed red pepper more. I feel like crushed red pepper releases spiciness a lot faster in spell work and also in food. So I like to add and I also find that like the powder form, if I use it too much in food, I will over season or over spice something. And because I'm Dominican, y'all know, to my Dominicans out here, we don't like spicy food. We're not, like, some of us do, okay? I'm not saying that all of us don't come for me in the comments, but historically speaking, Dominicans don't grow up in spicy food, and so we have to learn to love spicy food, okay? It takes us a minute to be like, okay, I'm craving this thing, because usually we'd be like, no. we don't do spicy foods like this. We don't have spicy dishes, okay? This is not what we do. We're not known for that, okay? So for the most part, I feel like when I'm using the powder form, I can over put too much and then I'm like or whatever the case may be. But when I'm using crushed red pepper, I can visually see like, okay, that's enough. That's good. I'm good with that. And then I can actually see it because of the size of the crushed red pepper versus that. I don't know. That's just, I'm ranting now, but that's just my thoughts on that. But I specifically like working with crushed red pepper in spell work and in food, kitchen, which magic every single day when I'm cooking. You guys know I like to cook with intention, and so when it comes to crushed red pepper, I find that it gives me that kick that I'm looking for. And it also, anytime that I need something to move a little bit faster than, you know, than it has been in the past, or like if I need some resolution to something faster, if I need something to move a little bit quicker, if I need, you know, just a little oomph in the step, like things like that in the spell work, I will use crushed red pepper because it connects to fire, and it just, the fire element, and it just brings more of a force into whatever situation it is, and it taps into that solar plexus energy, and it helps to purify. It's almost like a purification by fire, but working with the spice itself. So I hope that I'm making sense for you guys. But I love working with this specifically for my solar plexus. So if I'm having a moment of indecision, if I which is doesn't happen at most of the time as far as indecision, even though, yeah, I'm a Gemini moon, the indecision part, I tend to be very, like, I know what I want, I know what I need, like, I'm very self-aware. But if I'm having any type of moment of like indecision, or if I know what I want but then there's two choices, or if like I should be working on something, or I do a lot of work with like Santa Marta, and you guys know this, and specifically to give me strength and to give me, you know, to make me stay in a specific direction, help me stay in a path, help me focus on the work that I need to do for the week, help me focus and maintain like that goal oriented, like just working with control and power. This is a really good herb to work with power and maintaining and controlling your power, because you're using, to me, this is adding power into your spell work, is adding that fire into your spell work, and having that be, you know, a driving force into your spell work. So I like to use this in specifically when it comes to the root chakra as well as the solar plexus chakra, because I like to still, like, when it comes to the root chakra, I feel like the root chakra should be a and you guys know I describe the root chakra as a magical garden all the time, but I like to kind of see it as a mystical place in which I have created all of these things. I have called in all of these energies and all of these things into my life, and I have brought all of these things into my life, and I'm just enjoying and thriving in them at all times. That's the way I like to visualize my root chakra. And so when I want to do root chakra work, but maybe I'm feeling unmotivated, or maybe I'm like a little stuck in the mud, or like, especially this season, I told you guys before in past videos, December and Capricorn season tends to be a very depressing time for people, and for them to like be motivated or feel down upon themselves for like what they didn't do or did do for the whole year, and it brings up a lot of different types of issues. And I feel like working with the peppers, it just gives you that like pep in your step to connect to your strength and that solar plexus, that willpower, that cardinal, like, oh, I need to get this done, let's get to work, let's move, this is why, like, it gives me that fire that I need. And so I use this within emergencies as well, because this is also really good for protection. It is one of the ingredients, as well as cayenne, that is added to hot foot powder. So you guys know I will pull out the hot foot powder when needed. So yeah, that's one of the things that I use to really give me that like strength, that energy, and pull through and make things happen for myself. So I work with the peppers a lot. And the last pepper we're going to talk about is black pepper, because black pepper is really important. You see this big ass jar of pepper? This is Babe's black pepper, like ginormous metal can of black pepper that she bought. But yeah, this is the one we would use in the kitchen. But black pepper is an amazing pepper and spice to use in spell work and in cooking as well. Okay, I specifically like to use black pepper is multi-purpose for me, but specifically when I'm using it in cooking, I specifically set the intention for black pepper to protect me from eating, like if I'm adding it to a dish, protect me from eating anything that will harm or cost my body any, you know, or that will keep me or strain me off any negative eating habits or anything like that. Like I will whoop out the pepper and I will set that intention for black pepper, because black pepper is really good for protection work. It's really good for that kind of like cleansing and creating that barrier. Okay, I always see black pepper as this like, you will not cross this line type of spice, and it's just a really powerful spice to just set intention with and watch it work. So when it comes to food, I always add it. If I'm doing any type of like trying to control my eating habits, or protecting myself from eating things that are just not good for me, or like trying to maintain a specific healthy, like eating healthy diet or anything like that, then I will use black pepper in my cooking to add that energy in, to add that grounding in, add that layer of protection, and add that layer of intention as well. For spell work, I use this all the time. I've used this for ancestor work. I use this for any type of like protection work. Black pepper, it just works really quickly, and it just works. Black pepper just works. It is one of my go-to herbs because you can apply it to all the different types of things. You can apply it for protecting yourself, protecting your energy, protecting your aura, protecting your home, protecting your job, like it's just it just works. Okay, this is like one of my go-to herbs for that specifically, and I feel like if you use it creatively, you can see a lot of results in all the areas of your life in different ways. And I feel like this would work with every single chakra, to be quite honest, especially if you have a blockage that needs to be removed or resolved within your energy. So this video is getting long, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, because I did vote for this week's video. The link will be down below, so you guys can definitely check that out, because we're always learning and growing over there. And I will definitely see you get loves in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to click the little bell so you get notified every time I upload, and definitely don't forget to follow me on all the other socials. So I'm on TikTok at TigeraGitana, I'm on Instagram at TigeraGitana, I'm on Twitter at TigeraGitana, so don't forget to follow me there. I'll definitely see you loves in the next video, and have a very beautiful night.